What up? What up? What up? What's going on? I am Matt O'Leary, going to be hanging out with you here on a Sunday night, our first night with no football. Oh, is that depressing? Oh, that hurts my soul to say that. I know the Jets haven't played in a while, but still, I got to enjoy the playoffs, clearly. And the Super Bowl was fun last week. No show last week because of the Super Bowl. I was gouging my face and winning every bet possible. And then this week, my Sunday came and went, and there was no football. And I said, "Oh, this is depressing." So we bet a little bit on NASCAR today. It was the Daytona 500. Joey Logano was one of my bets. He wrecked early in the race, which is just amazing. So not really a NASCAR guy, but just said, "Hey, what's going on?" Say hello to the people in the chat. Love it. Jets Media's hanging out in here. Love it. What's up, Richie? How you doing, man? A ton of great people in here. We're going to do a few different things. We're going to get into two quick topics at the top, and then obviously going to get into, well, some of your questions, which I love doing. Send in the super chats as well if you want your question to be skyrocketed up to the top here. So first thing I want to talk about is some rumors. DJ Bieniemy of the Daily News wrote an article about some potential wide receiver targets, and one of the names on the list was one that I found intriguing because it was a familiar face, Robbie Anderson. And I did a video on it yesterday, but just to bring the topic of conversation on here on the stream, I am a little interested. It's not where I'm like, oh my God, yes, trade for Robbie Anderson. And maybe part of it's a little bit nostalgia reasons, but kind of my main point from the video and why I think it's, I wouldn't be quick to dismiss it. And again, I probably, if I had to put a likelihood on the Jets trading for Robbie Anderson back, it would be very, very slim. So I don't think it's something you have to worry about if you're very much so against it. But the Jets don't really have a deep threat like what Robbie brings. And I think that's part of something that's missing on this Jets offense. And I know you're going to say, well, the West Coast offense is a lot of crossing patterns, and it's not really about getting the ball down the field. And while I hear that, and that makes sense, and you're right, I think it would open up some of the things underneath, and that would, alleviate some of the pressure on the tight ends. So hopefully you have two new ones in here for next year. It'll alleviate some of the pressure for Elijah Moore. I think if you were to trade for Robbie, that would not preclude you from necessarily drafting a wide receiver in the first round either, which is enticing. And really, I think it would come down to what the Jets would prefer to do with either Braxton Berrios or Robbie. That's really what it would come down to. I don't think it would be, okay, well, if you trade for Robbie, then that means you can't draft a receiver. I think it would be, if you trade for Robbie, then that means you're probably priced out of Braxton Berrios, which, again, I think some of the price points for Braxton are all over the place. If I had my choice, if Braxton could come back at $5 million or you trade for Robbie Anderson, I'm keeping Braxton Berrios. But if the money is going to be close to the same, then it's a little bit of a different conversation because one provides a skill set that the Jets don't have, and the other provides the security blanket and the safety of, Zach knows him and throws to him and is confident in him and in Braxton Berrios. So I kind of see both sides on this one. I know that's bad for someone who gives their takes out on the internet. Like, that's pretty much just what I do here, right, on YouTube. And well, unfortunately, I don't really have a good one. I'm just kind of sitting in the middle on this one. I see both sides. I know that's not exciting, but something that I don't see both sides of, something that is, well, a major positive, is Zach Wilson and the team's confidence in Zach Wilson. I don't know if you saw, I'm sure you did, but Michael Carter's been kind of making the rounds on social media and, doing different appearances. And one of the clips from an appearance he's done started making the rounds a little bit. And he was talking about why he thinks that Zach Wilson is perfect for New York. And he was talking about whenever there was any kind of criticism of him, he would laugh it off or brush it off. Not that he doesn't take the criticism seriously. I think he just realizes, like, hey, doesn't matter what, Joe Blow at the New York Post writes about me. It doesn't matter what some crackpot YouTuber says about me online. I'm just going to take care of business myself, get better, and tone that stuff out, which is super important. And especially in this market in New York, that's one of the biggest things that you need is the ability to brush things off your shoulder. It's hard. It is not easy to play in New York because of the spotlight that you're under. A perfect example of it this year is the heat that Zach Wilson got when he was playing poorly versus the heat that Trevor Lawrence got, or what Justin Fields got, or anybody else, because it's not New York, baby. It's not the biggest media market in the world. So that stuff matters. And while obviously at the end of the day, it really comes down to if he's going to be able to take the next step next year or potentially beyond, which is obviously means everything, right? I don't necessarily think that we should just be ignoring what Michael Carter's saying. Or I don't look at it as Jet fans blowing it out of proportion by reacting the way that they did. You should react good to that because that shows, number one, the team has faith in him. And number two, he can handle it, which, oh my God, remember pre-draft? Can somebody from Utah who looks like babyface Zach Wilson, probably had everything handed to him in his life, blah, 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 blah. All the negative arguments that were coming out about Zach pre-draft, how he was not going to be able to handle it. And it looks like at least that aspect he has been able to handle. Hopefully that translates to on the field. We did see progression in the second half of the year, but obviously we're going to need to see even more progression going forward from Zach to leapfrog into one of the better quarterbacks in this league. You can't just go off traits forever. You need to take a tangible step next year. But I liked what I heard from Michael Carter. And I think the NFL world needs more Michael Carter in their lives. He's been extremely entertaining. And I think we're seeing a breakout year in 2022 from Michael Carter. And well, hopefully in that case, you are seeing a breakout year for Zach Wilson. That'd be phenomenal. So with that, we have over 100 people in here. Absolutely love it. Thank you so much for everyone tuning in. We're going to transition and get into some of your questions. Let's go through. We have a couple of people. Chris Bucco doesn't want Robbie. I get it. If Robbie was a free agent, I'd say, yeah, sign him, but trading for him, I just don't like. Fair. Retain Crowder at 6 over Braxton at 9. Okay. That's an interesting one. Yeah, I don't think, well, I'll start here. I don't think Barrios is going to get $9 million. I think that's crazy. If someone is offering him $9 million, then yeah, sign it for Braxton. Like, go. If you're getting an external team who's going to offer you $9 million to be their slot and punt and kick returner, okay. I don't see it. I don't think the Jets do it. I don't think Joe Douglas does it. And if I had to bet, I know people are worried now that he is going to leave in free agency. And I think some of it is misguided based off the what do you call it? The rumor, I guess. But I think we're looking at 5 million or at 6 at the absolute most for Braxton. I think the Jets end up getting it done. Let's scroll down here. Ryan says, do you see Joe D playing hardball with May and keeping him? He's a solid player, may be able to hold onto his value dropping from DUI and injury. I think he's as good as gone. I don't. His agent really did him no favors. If there was nothing with like all the agent drama over the last couple of years, then I would say, yeah, probably. It's possible, but I don't see it in the slightest. Let's get to the super chat. Thank you, Nose Kills. Appreciate it. Kind of neutral on Robbie. He's one-dimensional, but we lack that dimension. Players being interested in the Jets is the best thing about the rumor, if true. I agree. I agree with this. And I guess that's kind of why I said that I'm neutral with Robbie as well. He is a little one-dimensional, but that's what I started with at the top of the show, is the Jets don't have that deep threat. They don't have that guy. And it would bring something that the Jets don't have. But I also see the negative sides. I get it, which I guess I'm not like banging the drum for it to happen. But if it did, then I would say, all right, cool. And he's the sun god. Love it. Thank you, Nose Kills. Appreciate it. Oh, Zachary, good question. Who would you draft if the Jets had the first overall pick? I love Aiden Hutchinson. I think it would be between Aiden Hutchinson and KT, which is crazy that there's a chance that KT will be there at 4. But I think I'm leaning Aiden Hutchinson recently. I think he's going to be an absolute star in the league. I think he's going to be tremendous. I think he goes second overall um, to the Detroit Lions, and he would be a ton of fun. What a story that would be, going to school in Michigan and then playing for the Detroit Lions in the NFL. That'd be awesome. I think that's who I would be. Thank you for the super chat, Daniel. I don't see a question in here for you, but I appreciate the support as always. You're a real one. Ace the Jet says 6 million for Brax. You're probably right. I think that's a good guesstimate at that point. 6 million is probably pretty close. I'm at 5, but oh, here we go. I like this one. RA Chemist. Mims for Anderson seems fair to me. Yeah, why not? They can both keep their number 11 then, right? Because that's what obviously Mims wears now. And well, Robbie wore it with the Jets, so they could just, take the Mims nameplate off the back and put Anderson back on there, and you're good to go. I don't think the Panthers are going to be trading with the Jets anytime soon. Same for the Seattle Seahawks. I don't see it. Thank you, Joe. Hit the likes. Let's go support our Jets. Thank you. Appreciate the support. Everyone in tuning in here. It's a blast. Do you think, here's Pipe Dreams with a question. Do you think it would be better to get an experienced tight end wide receiver rather than waiting for a rookie to develop? Well, I think that's why I'm at sign one and draft one with the tight end, and why I like Zach Ertz a lot for this Jets team is because I think one, Ertz still has a little something left in the tank, even being on the wrong side of 30 years old. But I think he could take that young pup, whether it be Trey McBride, Jeremy Rucker, Jake Ferguson, name whatever tight end you like best that you want the Jets to draft, and take that player under his wing for a year or two. And then that player kind of take the next step. With wide receiver, they are already, like, you paid Corey Davis money to come in here and play. Now, it wasn't elite level money. It was like high upside number 2 wide receiver money. And I don't necessarily think you're going to be able to sign a Godwin. I don't think Devontae Adams even hits the market, but I don't think they're landing a big fish like that. Maybe Allen Robinson, but Robinson scares me, man. I know it's just the one down year, and people are going to point to the ineffective quarterback play, but some of the underlying numbers with Allen Robinson just weren't very good. He wasn't getting open, and it was not great. Speaking of which, Sean24 says Jets fans are hesitant to pay Godwin because of the ACL, but people come back from ACLs all the time better than ever. He is a proven top 15 wide receiver. Those are hard to find without giving up assets. Yes, it is. There is risk involved with any injury. There is. I mean, everyone's body heals differently too. You're right that some people do come back as good as new, but yeah, we'll see with that. I would be surprised if Joe Douglas shelled out that kind of money. I think it's gonna be close to 20 mil, but we'll see. Guillerme Salgado 86. I don't understand why I don't hear anybody talking about moving back into guard. He would make an excellent guard to help him stay healthy. I think he's too big to play guard. He's a monster. They don't make guards that big. I think he's a tackle. You can have the conversation about moving him to right tackle maybe, but I don't see how you could possibly move him inside. I think he is far too big. 1189 Paris. If the Jets want to make a splash trade for Amari Cooper, who's still young and his money is not guaranteed. Yeah, that one makes a lot of sense. Sure, he has 3 more years left in his contract, but if he's playing well, then you don't worry about the $20 million a year against the cap or whatever it is. And he's still only 27, which he's been in the league forever, it feels like, but he's still a young guy. I think if you are to trade for one, that one makes a ton of sense. We have a super chat in here. I just want to go grab that. More, it's Edward Ziff. Thank you so much for the super chat. He goes, Moore, Berrios, Anderson, Burks, Davis, Crowder all have different skills, and this is my dream. Okay, so let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a stacked receiver room. I don't know how you're going to be able to afford all of it, but I mean, any excuse for Zach Wilson goes out the window if that's his receiver room, right? That would be bonkers. I don't know if they do all. I don't know if they do all that. I don't think you're going to be able to re-sign Berrios, trade for Anderson, and re-sign Crowder too. But wow, that'd be insane. Yeah, this is a good point. Look, Jets 962 Marvel says, look how much Jameson Williams dropped because of an ACL tear. They do matter. Yeah, I mean it does. It's gonna affect his draft status. He could be. I mean, and that's not a. It's hard because I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's going to be bad in the NFL. I don't think that's the case, but he was someone who was going to be a surefire top 15 pick, and that is no longer a thing. I think he's most people's number one wide receiver in this draft class, but that is no longer the case. Garrett Wilson, Treylon Burks, all those guys jumped way up in front of him now at this point. And even Drake London, too. Here we go. Nick Rousseau, Chicago-based Jets fan. You are absolutely right on Robinson. He might have had a quarterback carousel, but there are definitely underlying problems, and not sure why so many Jet fans are in on him. Yeah, if this was a couple years ago, completely different conversation we're having. It was a really, really bad year for Robinson this year. And something seems off. If he bounces back, I mean, it's possible. He's a really, really good player. He's normally a very good player, but my fear is that he is coming closer to the end and coming out of his prime than anything else. Daniel, I see your super chat in here, so I am going to jump down. You comment underneath, so I'm going to jump to the question. What about Tyler Algier? He was great for Zach at BYU. I love him a lot, and the Jets, to me, very much seem to be in play for a running back in, like, I don't know, maybe the 4th or 5th round. They have 2 picks in both the 4th and 5th round. I would love it. I think he's a stud. I like his running style, which you know what I didn't know? He was a linebacker initially and then switched to running back at BYU. I found that really interesting. Joe chimes in, if Robbie is released, I'd sign him 3 years, $7 million per, as well as sign Berrios at 4 years, 6 per, as well as draft a big body wide receiver early. Okay. So then your wide receiver room would be, so for big body wide receiver, can we use Drake London just as this example? I don't know if that's who you want, but let's just use that for the example here because he is a big body wide receiver. Maybe you want Burks or someone else, but let's just say, let's use London. So then it would be London, Davis, Moore, Robbie, Berrios. Okay. And, with Corey Davis's contract structure, you could get out of it after this year if things go poorly. But yeah, if Robbie's released, that's a really interesting one because, one, you're not going to have to pay him the $10 million, whatever the hell he was supposed to be getting against the cap this year. But as I said, he provides something that the Jets really don't have, which is the deep threat. Peter Chestnut chimes in. People are forgetting that Linderbaum is Quentin Nelson levels of good. I don't want a center at 10, but if he's better than Nick Mangold and we don't take him at 10, I would hate that worse. Yeah, so that kind of gets into the question here. It depends on what you do earlier. I think that if Kayvon Thibodeau is the pick at 4, or if they go defense at 4 and don't go offensive line, I could be sold on Linderbaum at 10. I don't want to go back-to-back offensive line picks. I think you're running a little bit of a risk there. And just you need to spread your resources around a little bit more. But he is a really good prospect. I've not soured on him, but soured on the idea of a center as the year went on. I did a way too early mock draft in October, and Linderbaum was my guy that I picked. But the offensive line was in shambles early in the year. They clicked in the second half of the year, and they looked significantly better. So I kind of went off that a little bit, but it's you could convince me on it if you do other things in free agency. Um, yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting way to look at it because I was kind of off that idea, but if you're able to sign your edge in free agency or you draft your edge at 4 and you're confident in Mekhi Becton's health and you're confident in George Fant being just as good as he was last year, then maybe you do that and move McGovern over to guard. You could do it. Another one from Guillermo. David Bell, first, second round pick for the Jets would be a home run. Very underrated wide receiver. Yeah, that's an interesting one. David Bell. That's a name that I haven't heard a ton of, but I don't know. I've seen a lot of people who kind of want to wait to round 2 to get their wide receiver. Jets have done it the last couple of years with different levels of success rate, it seems. I mean, Elijah Moore and Denzel Mims are trending in very opposite directions. I don't know. I think I'm still on taking one in the first round, but David Bell is someone that I'm going to have to look into a little bit more here. 1189 Paris says Sauce Gardner and Tyler Linderbaum would be good number 10 picks. I like Sauce Gardner. I'm glad you said Sauce Gardner over Derek Stingley, because I think I like Sauce better than Derek Stingley. But I don't think the Jets are going to go with a corner in the first round, personally. I wouldn't necessarily be mad at the pick because I like the prospect. I just think I would be surprised by that draft strategy if the Jets did it. Again, not mad, just I'd be, that wasn't what I was expecting. Kieran says move back from 10. I love the profile picture of Chrissy. Yeah, you could. I don't want to move back probably past 20, but there's absolutely a world where you could. Sean 24 says, what do you think about Shark? He is not being utilized properly with the Jags. Yeah, he's another interesting one. DJ Shark's put up some pretty good numbers earlier in his career, but I agree he wasn't utilized properly this past year. I would think that they would like to find a way to pick him up, but being the Jaguars, not the Jets, but that is an interesting alternative option. I do like DJ Shark a lot. Yeah, it's the GE or JE, excuse me, says take George Pickens or Christian Watson, speed and size. I think Pickens, if he's there in the second round, is the wide receiver that I've talked myself into. I think if he doesn't get hurt, where it's a different conversation with him. Joe chimes in. If Hickey, Hutch, Thib go and we take Hamilton at 4, oh God, would you take Jermaine Johnson or Linderbaum at 10? I guess Linderbaum. I would hope that I would be able to take Evan Neal at 4 instead of Hamilton, and then my answer would be Jermaine Johnson. But if I'm not taking back-to-back defensive players, I don't think. Arjun Baller says, I really hope Mims bounces back because when healthy and playing well, Mims could be a huge part of this offense. I hope so. That'd be awesome. As I've made it pretty clear, I was a huge fan of him coming out. I liked his potential as a rookie. I wanted him to see the field early on this year, and then he got that time finally and looked terrible with that time. I don't think you can go into next year relying on him to be one of your main 3 or 4 targets. But if you bring him back as wide receiver 5, let's say, and then he impresses in camp, then maybe it's a different conversation. Prestige Shogun. My friends want Stingley at 4 at all costs. Do I need better friends? Yes, you do. You definitely do. Explain to them why it doesn't make sense for the Jets. Like, just give them the context. Say, listen, Stingley is a good player. I understand where you're coming from. And yes, cornerback is something the Jets need to improve on. But say how Robert Saleh, Ulbrich, Douglas have all said time and time again that they prioritize the offensive and defensive lines. So you are much more likely to see a edge player come off the board for the Jets before you see a corner or even a safety. That's the same conversation that I have with people with the Kyle Hamilton. Say, great, he is probably going to be a very good player in this league, but is that what the Jets are looking to do on defense? I don't think so. I think they'd rather take developmental players for their secondary and really focus on the defensive line and linebacker crew. Their corners played above their head last year. And a lot of them no names. Like Brandon Echols came in, held his own. Do I think he should be starting for this team next year? Probably not. But if you're finding these guys and getting some pretty good value out of them, I don't know. More of that. Let's go to Gene. Thank you so much for the super chat. Jamison Crowder, proven player, put everything on the line for the teammates next to him. We won't have to see if he fits the mold. Yeah, I like Crowder. The issue with him is health. He hasn't stayed healthy. The last 2 years have been really banged up. He was good. He was a good Jet, but injuries, they play a factor. I think they end up moving on. I would be really surprised if they bring him back. Boycott Activision chimes in with some George Karlaftis talk, bro. Karlaftis had like 50 pressures. Man's a beast. He is. He's I really like George Karlaftis a lot. I think Jet fans and even some draft fans are just overlooking him a little bit. He gets after the quarterback. It might not be sexy how he does it, but he wins with pure power. We have another super chat in here. Bright Night. If Edge is gone, move back from 4, possibly Eagles. Rumors out on Hurts. They have the picks to move up. Then we take Devin Lloyd, Linderbaum, Burks. Go. Okay. Ignaber and McBride in the second round. I think, okay. The Penn State rusher, I think, right? Is who we mean here at the end. Okay. So move back from pick 4 with the Eagles. Then take Lloyd, Linderbaum, Burks. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. So when I see the Eagles, and if they do move on from Hurts, I don't think it'd be a quarterback in this class. I think it would be for somebody on the trade market. But I am not opposed to this idea. Prestige Shogun is back. If Thibodeau is available at 4, should we take him? TPS has us passing up on him to draft Mekhi Becton's replacement. I would take him at 4. Sorry, I need my water here. But I don't necessarily like. I don't think it's if you draft an offensive lineman. I don't think it's necessarily drafting Mekhi's replacement. It could be. I think it is setting yourself up for both short-term and long-term success. So let's use the example of Icky let's just use Icky as the example. He is someone who can move in and play guard. So theoretically, in year 1 as a rookie, he would do just that. You'd go in, play right guard. Perfect. Then you have George Fant and Mekhi Becton battle it out for left tackle. Whoever plays better gets the job in training camp. The other one moves to right tackle. If Mekhi Becton plays well and doesn't get hurt, then there you go. You can move Ike Ekwonu outside. You can let George Fant walk in free agency. You can get a comp pick back for him, and you're on your merry way. But if Mekhi Becton's hurt again and misses time, then you could probably say, okay, we're moving on from Mekhi Becton. We're going to sign George Fant to an extension, and then you move Icky outside, and then you're on your merry way that way. So I don't look at it as taking a Mekhi Becton replacement necessarily. It could eventually get to that, but I don't necessarily think that's the case. Uh, do, 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 do. Steven chimes in. I like taking Icky at 4 and Karlaftis at 10 if he falls. Then McBride in second round if we can get wide receiver in free agency. Okay. Not opposed to that. They could. Or maybe they trade one of the second round picks for wide receiver. Then hell yeah. I'm in on that. I like Karlaftis a lot. I'd be happy if he was a Jet. And while I've kind of changed my mindset of taking him at 4, because I've kind of got sold on the idea I just went through on taking an offensive lineman or Kayvon Thibodeau, but I don't think it's some embarrassing move to take a guy like Karlaftis in the top 10. I really don't. All right. We are going to hang on. I'll put this down for a second. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I will get into more of your questions. Good news, Jet fans. I have exclusive content for you at patreon.com/Matt O'Leary NY. A $5 subscription gets you a ton of new content that's only available to subscribers. For instance, you have the player cards available from the 2021 season. They will update during the 2022 season to keep track of player progress. I will also do player write-ups on the NFL draft and on free agency, including those cards, and during the season as well. And with these cards, I could do so much more data visualization that will be exclusive only to you. Secondly, why should you subscribe? You're already getting the player cards, which is a bonus. You're also getting the write-ups, which is good. But the first 100 subscribers will be entered to win a jersey giveaway. Pick a Jets jersey of your choice, and I will ship it to you. No extra charge, nothing like that. So subscribe today, patreon.com/Matt O'Leary NY, and get yourself some bonus New York Jets content. Online security is a must in today's world, and ExpressVPN is here to ensure that your devices are safe. ExpressVPN protects your computer, your phone, whatever device you want from hackers and ad agencies, so no more annoying targeted ads spamming your device. The best part, well, this actually works with Netflix and other streaming services too for your protection. Use the link in the description to get 3 months for free with your subscription. With my code, you can save 49%, and on top of that, get an additional 3 months for absolutely free. Protect yourself when you're surfing the web by using ExpressVPN. Details are down below in the description. Make sure you and your devices are safe. All right, welcome back. Thank you to the sponsor, ExpressVPN. And also, if you haven't checked out the Patreon, you should do so. We are going to be putting up a Dante Fowler write-up early this week. We're going to have some other bonus content for you on there. Absolutely loving it so far. And you could also check out the 2021 player cards, which are up there and ready to go. All right, let's take a look, get back into these questions here in the second half of the show. Mock show me we need to trade down from 4 to add another Senior Bowl standouts like 2 tight ends, etc. You could absolutely do that. I think if the Jets are to trade one of their picks in the first round, my guess would be that it would be pick 10. And I don't think they're going to go back super far. I think they end up taking either Ike Ekwonu or Kayvon Thibodeau at 4. My guess is the top picks go Evan Neal first. Then I think we see Aiden Hutchinson go. And then depending on what Houston does, if they take Kayvon Thibodeau, then the Jets take Ekwonu. Or if they don't, if they take somebody else, then the Jets can pick up Kayvon, which would be, I think, a home run. And the same thing with the tight ends. I love this tight end class. So if you ever needed to take 2 tight ends, this is the class to do it, but I wouldn't want to pigeonhole myself into having to do that. Here we go. Matt, I don't want a drafted wide receiver one. It's too much of a roll of a dice for how soon they produce. I want a wide receiver one via free agency or trade. Has to be a sure thing. Also, no, and a known entity tight end 2 and tight end 1 in draft. Okay. That's fine. I think I understand where the fear comes from here. It makes sense. I see what you're saying here. Who stands out to you that you want? A trade for Amari Cooper? I could see that. I would not be opposed to that. And then, I mean, there's a ton of tight end 2 options in free agency. You can probably do like a Hayden Hurst as your tight end 2 or a Gerald Everett or someone like that, and then draft a tight end 1, like a Trey McBride. But I see your point with it being a roll of a dice. I guess I'm just higher on some of the wide receivers than you are, which is fine. We have a super chat, so let me scroll down and get it. Thank you, 1189 Paris. What player do you think the Jets will eye at the NFL Combine? Thibodeau, Hamilton? I think Thibodeau is going to be the one on everyone's eyes. Even like honestly, Karlaftis is important at the Combine too. If he tests well, that'll be important. We have to see if he's able to bend, right? Coming around on the edge. I think that'll show how high he's going to go in this draft class. I'm higher on him than some. I get it. Hamilton's a great player, so the people are going to be eyeing him. But again, I don't see the fit with the Jets, so I don't think that's the direction they go. But I guess Thibodeau would be the one that makes the most sense to me. And he chimes back in and says Amari via trade or Allen Robinson. Okay. Allen scares me a little bit, but Amari makes sense. Let's see. Here's your draft mentality. Protect the quarterback and get to the quarterback. That is a must. Yeah, when you have to when you really dumb it down, that's really what it comes down to, right? Make your quarterback, either find your quarterback, make your quarterback's life easier, or get after the quarterback. Those are your 3 most important things. I love it. Prestige, no. I would say that's probably right on the money. Just a little bit of a deep threat, depth, which is fine. I don't think you bring him back to be a number 1 receiver. You bring him back to just be in the rotation. And you could still draft a wide receiver or trade for one. Here we go. Thoughts on Kenyon Green? I like him. I think he is going to be a solid player. I don't know if the Jets end up grabbing him. I haven't seen him mocked to the Jets very much. Clipped is in here. Let's get him up on the board. When are the Jets able to start signing and trading for players? League New Year. Early March. I'm very much so looking forward to that. It's gonna be a fun time. It's always on a Wednesday, I want to say. I believe it is the 16th. Almost positive it's the 16th. How much can the combine change teams' ideas of players? I feel what you see on the football field is the most important. Yes, but if people test well, that also like 3 cone drills, bench press is kind of a stupid one, but 40 times people look at that a lot. Some of the individual, it kind of just, you can compare them to how other players tested, and it's just an extra tool. It's not really saying that that's what you only base it on, but it's just more information on a player. That's it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yes. Tampering is 14th, but 16th is free agency. Yep. That's what I thought. Let me take a sip and then I'll read. What could also help your defensive line is Gardner at cornerback. I would be happy if the Jets took him at 10. Yeah, I'm not like I would much rather see them go a different direction, but I do like Sauce Gardner a lot. Sean, I am very, very, very jealous of you that if you plan on being at the draft, that is my dream to be at the NFL draft in Vegas. Oh, I am so, 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 so jealous of you. It seems like an absolute a blast, man. Have fun. Send in a video. And if you're not going to be at the draft, or for anyone who's in here that's not going to be at the draft, make sure you watch with us on Jets Talk 24/7. So it's me, Ryan, and Green Bean are on for the whole draft. It's a blast. The interviews too are important. Yes, those matter. Seeing how a player reacts to different things and questions, and they have. Again, it's not everything, but it's part of it. You get to see a little bit more information on each player. That's it. The interviews, that's a good one too. What if the Texans offered Deshaun Watson for Zach Wilson, number 4, and Quinnen Williams? No. I love Deshaun Watson on the field. I don't want to trade for Deshaun Watson right now. Do we think Carl Lawson is going to return to form? I do. I think he is going to be steady. I very much so look forward to the return of Carl Lawson. I think he is, well, when he plays, very, very, very good. In 2020, he was one of the best pass rushers in football. And I think he would help guys like John Franklin Myers and Quinnen Williams and Sheldon Rankins and the edge on the other side. That's just as important. Like, I really, really, really like, oh my God. Why am I blanking on his name? I was going to say Bryce Hall, but that's not who I mean. The rotational edge. They picked him up as an undrafted free agent. Bryce Huff. Thank you. I like him as someone who can come in on third down, maybe pin his ears back and go, but he's not an every down edge on the other side. You need somebody else. So I think if the Jets find that and get Carl Lawson back, then their defensive line starts to look a little bit scary. It's a good question. Does Robert Saleh have to start coaching more aggressive? Yes, I think he does. Eventually, I think when he came back after after his COVID bout, I think he got a little bit more aggressive towards the end of the year. But there were a little bit too many times where he went conservative, going for longer field goals when your kicking situation is downright awful. Yeah, I would say yes. To answer your question, I think he does need to get more aggressive. Offseason philosophy: sign solid vets to fill needs and draft young upside talent at same positions to learn and ultimately upgrade while having vet backups and leadership also works for cap growth. Great point. Kind of works in with my Zach Ertz take from earlier. I like that. Back to, we have a super chat. I got to find it. Garcus, what's up, Matt? Just wanted to say you have a great channel, and although I disagree with you sometimes, 95% of your takes are dead on, in my opinion. Keep it up. Hey, man, appreciate the nice comment here, Garcus. And look, I don't think we should all agree on every single take. That would be boring. We need some disagreement. Healthy disagreement and healthy debate is fine. I just don't like when, people make it personal or when people are just dismissive. I try to be open-minded and think of things rationally. And every single one of my opinions is just that. It's an opinion. And there's not necessarily a right or a wrong one. And I don't know, I just want to get on here and talk about it. So I appreciate it. Thank you for chiming in. Let's see. Wanting Robbie Anderson is like wanting your toxic ex-packs. Get help. That's a bit. I think that's a little bit of a stretch, Kev. I think that's a little bit of a stretch. Used to go to the draft every year in the Paramount Theater inside the Garden. Some of the best memories of my life. Reinforced my draft obsession for life. I'm 50 and still can't get enough draft. Love it. I've never been to one. I wish I did. I was at Radio City for so many years. I just never went. A couple of my buddies went in 2006. So that was the Ferguson and Mangold draft. Let's see. Let's go to Ray. I would love Thibodeau to fall to us at 4, but if Hamilton can stay on the board and make it to 10, we leave round 1 with an A++. Okay. Yeah, I'm not definitely sold on the Hamilton even at 10, but I get it that you're getting a good player there. Shane, what's up, man? Thoughts on getting Gallup? Also, thoughts on OJ Howard and Robert Tonyan. Okay. Gallup is, I think he's going to get re-signed by the Dallas Cowboys, which is part of the reason why I think Amari Cooper can be available. But I kind of put like Gallup and Corey Davis in the same boat receiver-wise. They're not necessarily that they do the same things, but they're in the same tier of wide receiver. So I think if you're looking for one already in the league, if they would go for maybe a little bit of a higher upside guy than Gallup. OJ Howard, I think, is one of the more overrated players at the tight end position. He is a former first rounder, so he's a big name, but I don't think his production matches his hype level that he's gotten. Robert Tonyan is interesting because a couple years ago, he had a monster season for Green Bay. This past year went down a little bit. I would say more interested in Robert Tonyan than I am OJ Howard. But if the Jets came away with Tonyan, I'd be intrigued there. I think you would have to also add tight end early in the draft, like a McBride or Ruckert, but I can get behind that. Jeremy, what's up, Matt O'Leary? You're the man. Jeremy, you're the man too. Appreciate you coming in and hanging out with me. Oh, here's an interesting one from B2B. What would it take to go from 4 to 2? Well, let's pull up the draft tech chart. We could talk about it. I could even share my screen too in a second. Okay, let's do that. Bear with me. Mm-hmm. Is it working? Yes. I'm going to remove the comments, so hopefully it makes it a little bit on the bigger side. It doesn't. What if I do this? A little bit better, I guess. It would take, so you're looking at 2,600 and 1,800. Let's pick 10, 1,300. So 18 and 13 is 1,800 plus 1,300 is 31. So you could probably do, Detroit gives up pick 2 and 34 and gets pick 4 and pick 10. I guess that's probably about what it would cost, roughly. That's just my guess. Let's get back into this. Oh, in your opinion, what is our biggest position of need right now? Tight end. Maybe it's recency bias, but I really think this offense was decimated with just how bad the tight end play was. I really do. I think that in a perfect world, the Jets have 2 capable tight ends next year. Because if you remember, early on in the season, I was very, very critical of Mike LaFleur when he did this. He constantly tried to run 2 tight ends on the field. And when you have Ryan Griffin and Tyler Kroft or Daniel Brown or Trayvon Wesco as the 2 tight end sets, it wasn't making sense. The Jets' strength was the wide receiver position, or at least it should have been on paper. And they were putting more tight ends on the field and less wide receivers. It wasn't making any sense. So I think they want to run more two tight end sets, but they got away from it because of their personnel. So I'm going to say tight end. We got another super chat in here. Let's get it up. What do you think about Evan Neal's weight issues? Here we go. It's like the Mekhi Becton conversation all over again. He's fat. He doesn't care. No, I think Evan Neal's the best offensive lineman in this draft class. I think people have started to overlook him now, or starting to, just overlook or try to find fault with a prospect that's very, very, very good. I don't have any issue with his weight. I think he'll be fine. Here we go. Brandon Ferris, what's up, dude? Give me Hayden Hurst and Trey McBride, Jeremy Ruckert. That would be awesome. I'm down for that. Hurst is steady. He's a solid tight end. He's not necessarily as flashy as some of the other names on the market, which is fine, but I think that'd be a really nice tight end room if it ended up being like, let's just say Hurst and McBride. That'd be really solid. But this is the home run. Ideal situation for 10 in room is to sign Dalton Schultz if he hits the market and go McBride. If we can manage to do that, I would be very happy. That would be huge. I think people are somehow even underrating Dalton Schultz a little bit. And McBride, like, they would be what a 1-2 punch, man. Now you're starting to have a serious offense. How do you feel about big running back in the 4th round? Love it. I think that's what this running back room misses. I like Michael Carter a lot. I'd be interested in bringing back Tevin Coleman for depth. If not, I guess Ty Johnson. But if you are able to find a bigger body running back in this draft, whether it's Haskins from Michigan, or if you go with the Alabama running back, you could do that. Also, he's a little bit on the bigger side. There's a few options for you if you look for a bigger body running back on early day 3, which is what this would be. So yeah, I think that would be smart. Why don't people think Elijah Moore can be the wide receiver 1? I don't necessarily think that people don't think that. I think you just need multiple weapons in an NFL offense today. I mean, look at the Cincinnati Bengals this past year. They used pick 34 or 35, whatever. They used the early pick in 2020 in the 2nd round on T. Higgins, and then they used a top 10 pick to draft Jamar Chase the next year. The Rams, they had a really, really good wide receiver core. Cooper Kupp, arguably the best wide receiver in football this year. Robert Woods gets hurt. Van Jefferson's a player that they still feel really good about. And then they signed Odell Beckham Jr. for cheap. You just need the Buccaneers. They had Godwin and Mike Evans and still signed Antonio Brown. You need multiple weapons. And I don't think it's a knock on Elijah Moore. I think it's just you want the offense to look better. Let Berrios walk and get Patterson. He could be our Deebo Samuel. Interesting. I like Corey Patterson. It depends on what Braxton Berrios is looking for, price-wise. If it gets over $5.5 million, probably. Where are you in wide receiver draft rankings? I guess I would say Treylon Burks 1, slightly ahead of Garrett Wilson, who would be 2. I still put Jameson Williams up there. I guess at 3 then. And then I would go Drake London and Chris Olave after that. And Dotson as the honorable mention at 6. Add Amari, Ertz, and McBride. That's my big spend. Weapons, weapons, weapons for Zach Wilson. We need to know without a shadow of a doubt that ZW is the future. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. I love it. Can you imagine Ertz just taking McBride under his wing for a year or two? Phenomenal. And Amari could probably be got for, I don't know, pick 35 or a third rounder this year and another pick in next year's draft class. Because Dallas is going to be a little bit of a cap problem. The Jets have the ability to take on that contract. Obi-Wan, what's up, dude? Address O-line and free agency to get proven players, protecting Zach, and use draft on defense, skill positions. Thoughts? You could do that too. There's many ways to skin a cat, and you could absolutely do it that way too if you wanted to. I would like to spend the early picks on edge and offense and build out the rest of the defense on day 2 and day 3. I think that's my preferred option. We have time for a few more questions in here. Get them in, get them in, get them in. Got a super chat from Indy Colt. Thank you so much. Will Sam be out in Carolina, and does he get another shot as a starter? Yes, I think he is out. I do not think he gets a chance to start in 2022. Maybe down the line he does. But I would say more than likely, no, he is not a starter in 2022. Do you think Saleh is the guy? Yes, I do. I am very confident in the Jets general manager and coach for the first time in a long time. What I like from Saleh is I like his demeanor. I like his energy, and I think he gives good answers and insightful answers in the press conferences. I know like press conferences aren't everything, and maybe it's just because how much I hated Adam Gase's press conferences and how Todd Bowles gave you nothing. But I just Robert Saleh just seems like a really smart football guy. He has a lot to prove still. I'm not saying, based on a 4-win season that he's definitely the guy. But I am definitely confident in him. Should we double up on offense in first round and find an edge with XP and free agency? You could do that. Sure. I think that you could absolutely find an edge in free agency. There's tons of guys you could find. If you want to go big like Chandler Jones, go for it, man. That'd be pretty wild. Let's do this mock draft, and then we'll do one more after this. I did Draft Network mock. What do you think of Ike Ekwonu, Derek Stingley, Drake London, Jaquan Brisker, Damon Clark, Cam Taylor-Britt, Alec Lindstrom, Zamir White, Jay Ross? No, I don't want to take Derek Stingley. I wouldn't do that. I don't think Drake London makes it to 35. Brisker, I like. Ike at 4, I like. And I like Zamir White and Lindstrom a lot from this. All right, I'm going to do one more here. Let's see what else we get. Okay, we'll end with this one. Matt, what are your thoughts on signing Mostert to a cheap deal to go along with Carter at running back? We know he fits the system. We know that for sure. I would not be opposed. I think it would be a nice 1-2 punch. I would still look to add a bigger body running back on day 3 in the NFL draft, even if you do that. But I think that'd be building a pretty nice running back room. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to this show. It is an absolute blast to hang out with you every Sunday. New episode of Just Jets is coming out tomorrow. I am going to record it very shortly. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate all the love and support. Give it a thumbs up before you go. Once again, I'm Matt O'Leary, and I'll talk to you next time.